It's been a while, but I'm finally back. Let's run that intro. Hey everyone, Mighty Mr. Mooresky here. Welcome back to the channel, and I know I'm like 2 weeks into it, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. Happy New Year, and welcome to 2018 on the channel. So, as you saw, as some of you will have seen on Christmas Eve, as it were, as it actually was, I uploaded my montage of 2017. Every cosplay, every event in Comic-Con that I had pictures of were in this montage, including the stuff I did for Frightmare, not only during the Halloween season, but also during the summer when I took part in the Gloucester Carnival, right before the fair, or I think literally like the day it started or the day after it started, something like that. But in that montage, you will notice that one of my cosplays, well, not one of my cosplays, a couple of my cosplays didn't fit with everything else. You know, most of my cosplays, as you know, are really geeky. They're Spider-Man, basically. And right now, right in front of me, I'm modifying one of my new suits, which it's 2018, I still can't speak. I'm modifying so that I can wear it at True Believers in a couple of weeks now. It's going to be a couple of weeks. But one of the cosplays that I did last year, I had no idea how it was going to go. And in fact, I'm going to talk to you more about it in a second. But that cosplay is my World War II soldier. I don't know if this person, if the name that I used for it, I don't know if there's an actual person using that name and all that information. But the soldier I was cosplaying I named Sergeant James Carson of the 1st Infantry Division Easy Company from Tampa in Florida. And it went down really well. I've been interested in World War II since, I think, about 2006, when I played Call of Duty 3. So I've been interested in World War II, and I've gone to a few. Basically, I've gone to this war reenactment show called the M5 show. It's in Worcester, at a place called Spetchley Park. Huge estate, absolutely huge estate. And the house was actually, I think it was actually used in World War II during the Battle of Britain and all the intelligence gathering, including cracking the Enigma and stuff like that. I could be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. I would be surprised if it wasn't, I should say. So I've been long interested in World War II, and I'd wanted to do a World War II kind of costume. I feel kind of dirty saying costume or cosplay for it, because, I mean, in all technicality, I'm not using a 100% accurate World War II uniform. I mean, it's somewhere over there in bits, and the helmet is somewhere over there, and the bags are there, you know. But it's not 100% accurate. I haven't gone online and I haven't found, actual trousers that were used in World War II, because it would cost way too much money for me. So I use basically what looks closest to it. I think the only accurate piece of gear that I actually used that's in my uniform is the M1 Garand ammo belt. It's a recreation of an actual ammo belt. I was worried how it was going to go down, because I know of a lot of the it's something to be remembered. You know, World War II is not something to be forgotten. You never forget it, you know. And there's a lot of kind of like, you know, stigma. I think stigma is the right word. If not, you know what I'm on about. But there's a lot of, you know, that behind the scenes where it's like, you know, World War II, yeah, it's a war, there's death, but there was also the Holocaust and Nazis and stuff like that. So I was worried about that, and I was also worried that people were going to think I'm being disrespectful, which is not what I was doing. If anything, I was aiming to be a bit of a tribute to these people. Only one person has actually accused me of being disrespectful, so that's a plus. Everyone else loved the costume. They loved how I looked. They thought I looked spot on. I had a few people saying I looked like someone from Band of Brothers, which was not what I was going for. I was going for infantry, not airborne. I did see someone dressed as a paratrooper, which was awesome. And yeah, I just got great feedback. Not one bit of negativity when I wore it. The only speed bump I had to go through was the props, the guns that I had. And that's what I'm actually going to talk about with this costume. Well, not this costume, this video. But I will say I am going to do some variations on it. So I've got my 1st Infantry Division, which is, he's very thick clothing, fully decked out, M1 Garand, and, he's a traditional soldier. I am going to try and get the stuff to do a US Marine from World War II, and also working on doing a Vietnam War 1st Air Cav soldier. But this video, I'm going to show you basically my props, because I'm actually going to I'm starting to make some life-size gun props, So I'm going to start off with the pistols, because they're the smallest. But first off, this is my Colt 45, M1911. And as I said, these are all life-size. These are all made to scale. And the way I know this is actually accurate, because I was going off of what I did for my technique, which I'll explain in a second. The way I know this is actually life-size, this is actual size of a Colt 45, is when I was at MCM Birmingham, a friend of mine was cosplaying the Winter Soldier, and he had a rubber, or maybe resin, I think it was, model of the M1911. And we put them next to each other. They were the exact same size. They were the exact same size, the exact same width. Have you caught up now? It's just, I'm looking at my screen, and it's just like, it's trying to keep up. But it was the same width, same length, and, it was an exact duplicate. Obviously, you could tell it wasn't his. But you'll notice there's no mag release. There's literally just, it's drawn on. So there's no mag release. That's a flat bottom. There's no magazine that comes out of here or goes in. The slide doesn't move in the slightest. The trigger doesn't move. It's just there. It's literally just a physical prop, and you can pretend to rack the slide and stuff like that. But the sights, they're as good as I could get. And there is the barrel is actually drawn on there. I couldn't be bothered to cut it out. So that's the only complete pistol I've got, and literally that's cardboard. All of that is cardboard. Literally layer upon layer of cardboard, covered in masking tape, a layer of PVA glue, and then acrylic paint with some Sharpie pen to draw on these details. And that's basically how I've made this. So the other ones, again, I want to reiterate, these are all life size. These are actual size. None of them actually fire, but the bigger weapons have actual moving mechanisms. They don't move on their own, but they move. So next up, we've got my Nambu Type 14. It's not quite finished yet. I still need to do some duct tape, but I was seeing how it would look with the paint on. And again, mag doesn't come out. In fact, you can see it a bit more clearer that there is no way a magazine is in there. There's a Pepsi cap used for the bolt, but that doesn't move at all. And the trigger, again, trigger doesn't work. So I still need to tape up some of it, because you can see the layers of cardboard. In fact, there's a good way of seeing it. All the layers of cardboard to build this, and then there'll be the masking tape, a layer of PVA glue, the acrylic paint, and the Nambu will be finished. Next up is my Luger. And again, mag doesn't come out, bolt doesn't move, trigger doesn't move. But the Luger, I've actually really liked the Luger for quite some time. The first time I used it in a game was Peter Jackson's King Kong, the game, because the character's pistol is a Luger, and it was just, I like the design of it, I like the look of it, and the fact that I've now got an actual size one that I can keep is awesome. In fact, I did make it out of wood, and it's smaller and crap, basically. Next up, sticking with the Germans, Walther P38, and once again, mag doesn't come out, slide doesn't move, trigger doesn't move, there's no mag release, nothing, the fire selector doesn't move, and it's literally just a drawing pin that's, well, it's a combination of hot glue and a drawing pin holding that in. Even though I painted this, you can still see bits of the cardboard showing through, so I might go back over this with some masking tape and then just repaint over it and PVA glue and the acrylic. Current work in progress guns, my Walther PPK. In fact, this is how you can see it going now. The hammer will be put on afterwards because it's a circle that goes on the back here. And yeah, I just got you. I know it's the other way around, but whatever. And the iron sights will be added on afterwards. And yeah, it's just, that's my PPK because I'm going to try and cosplay James Bond. I mean, I actually share my surname with a former actor. And this is my current work in progress for my friend Raz, who's cosplaying Hellboy. He's got Big Baby, but he wants the Good Samaritan. And this is it so far. As you can see, I've done that on there and that so that I can get the width of it. I couldn't actually find the dimensions of the Good Samaritan. So what I did, thank you, whoever designed the Good Samaritan for the Hellboy movies, thank you so much for leaving the bullets exposed, because the information that the bullets are 22mm in diameter, and the fact that there's exposed bullets in the cylinder, I still need to make the cylinder, figure out something for that, but the fact the bullets are exposed in the cylinder, that meant I could literally just measure the size of the bullet and scale up the gun, and this is the actual size of it. You know, you look at it compared to my head, it's bigger than my head, you know, and that's how big it is. Whoops. It's huge. It's a big gun. The hammer, again, that'll be put on afterwards, and the same with the front sight and the rear sight. The cylinder, again, trigger doesn't work. The cylinder won't be able to come out. The gun doesn't open up. So it's just literally a physical prop, nothing more. So that's the pistols. Now we're moving on to the SMGs that I've made. And because I'm British, we're going to start off with the British one. Don't collapse on me, please. Right. Here's my Sten Mark II. There's a reason behind that, and that's because it's the obvious. The stock, being a wire stock, that would just be so flimsy in cardboard. It would bend, it would have broken by now. I mean, it's a bit wobbly at the moment. It's been covered in masking tape, it's been painted, so it's light grey. The bolt works, there's a working bolt on it, so it locks in right there, and then it locks all the way back. The sights, it has its sights. There's the rear one, there's the front one, and then you can see all the beautiful workings inside. The magwell is actually inside the body, and the magazine comes out, you can see in there, and it slides in just like that. Now, I mean, you can do it like that. It's a little bit difficult to do that because obviously this bit on the stock is so incredibly weak, it's actually bending. So if you are reloading it, either get a firm grip on it or do it with the other hand, kind of like how the Type 100's reloaded in Call of Duty World War II. Next up, my M1 Thompson. It's actually bigger than I remembered, because I actually have held an M1 Thompson, and it's pretty big for an SMG. I mean, I didn't say it on here, but again, trigger doesn't work. The bolt moves, and the magazine comes out, but the trigger doesn't work. It cannot fire. It will not fire, no matter what you do. And same with the Thompson. The trigger doesn't work. The magazine does come out, and that is incredibly weak. I mean, it's toughened up a little bit because I put an extra layer of thin cardboard in there. The magazine slides back in. I mean, you can see the magazine has actually got fake bullets in it, and the same with the stem. So it goes in like that. The reason why you got this on the magazine, it's not on the real one, but it's just to stop it from being crammed in too far, because it goes up to about here, and rather than cram it up all the way, it's up some of the way. And as you can see, it's got the proper guideline in there, and it's on the magazine, so it slides in just like that. And again, trigger doesn't fire. There's no bolt on this. I couldn't figure out a way to make the M1 Thompson bolt, so this is probably one of the only boltless guns that I've made so far. Next up, the M3 grease gun. Bigger than I thought it was. I did make a stock for it, but it doesn't want to stay stuck, so to the stock. This was actually the first one of the first guns I made. I made the Colt, this, and the Garand, which you'll see in a second. But again, magazine comes out, there's bullets in there, and it goes all the way up, so you can see in there. Hello. Feeds in there. Same drill. The real magazine doesn't have this square on it. It's just to stop it from being crammed up all the way. The dust cover, it doesn't close properly. Okay, apparently it does. But then it opens up. The bolt is simple. It just moves back like that. You got it there. Trigger, again, doesn't move. Sights are actually pretty good. Same with the Thompson. I didn't show you the Thompson sights. I'm so bad. But there's the front sight. There's the rear sight. And there's the hole in there that you look through. Just like that. Rather than, I mean, you got the little notch on there, but I don't aim it Call of Duty stuff. So next up, the big ones, and this is going to be fun. I can't put my laptop on my chair because my True Believer's Spider-Man suit is on there and the puff paint's drying, so but next up, in fact, we're going to start off those rifles with the one that started it all, my Garand. And yep, again, life size. Trigger doesn't work. Got the sights on there. It's literally just a little loop from some curtains, and the front sights work. The bolt moves, and inside it's got its fake clip, which can pull out. There's nothing in there, so there's no evidence that it could ever fire. And then the clip goes in like that, and slide it forward, and you're ready to go. I did have to put like an orange tip on the end of this, because even though it is fake, and it doesn't exactly look like a real gun, from a distance, you know, it could, so I had to put an orange tip on there, but for photos, I could just take it off and pose with it. There is a bayonet for it, but the actual mechanism to put it on there sucks, so I'm modifying that. And there is a rifle grenade I was working on, but it's a bit too heavy. The actual toy grenade is too heavy for it. Next up, this one was an interesting challenge. It's a Springfield, because it has a different bolt. So luckily I had some PVC piping, and I figured out a way to make it work. And one of the bullets falls out. The real Springfields, come here. The real Springfield holds 5 rounds. This one only holds 3, because there's only enough space to put 3. One gets kind of jammed in there. You can get him out, but it takes a lot of fiddling. And then the other 2 that you put in, they load in just like that. and then the bolt goes forward and it goes into the body. I got the sights on there, so you got the rear sight here and you got the front sight on here. There's no bayonet attachment for this. It's actually quite big. One thing I am working on for it, because I'm trying to get like a couple of friends to cosplay some World War II soldiers with me. I'm working on a scope, and it's Velcro, so that it's easy to put on, easy to take off. Goes on like that. And there are the actual crosshairs in there. I don't know how. Yeah, there we are. There we are. Actual crosshairs in there. So accurate up to 0 feet and 0 meters, 0 yards. And it cannot shoot the wings off a fly. So great. I haven't made stripper clips for that because obviously it can only hold 3 shots, 3 bullets. So next up, this is probably, I think this is the biggest one that I've made so far. Browning automatic rifle, pretty big. And this one's made out of a combination of EVA foam, cardboard, and the PVC piping for the barrel. I don't think the Springfield is actually made from... No, the Springfield's not made from PVC. No, yeah. The Springfield is not made from EVA foam. I did experiment with it, but it didn't work out. And this is probably the only one that actually fully uses it. But it's pretty big. Bolt moves a little bit. Just like that. The magazine comes out. You can see it slots in there. There's the magazine with the fake bullets. And that goes in. It's a little bit trickier to put in. The sights, I'm probably going to hit something. There's the rear sight. And there's the front sight. Again, can't fire anything. Trigger doesn't work. And I'm working on a bipods attachment for this, and quite possibly the carry handle to go on here. But this is pretty cool. The BAR, pretty cool gun. Pretty cool. And now I don't have them with me, but I made a pair of Desert Eagles for a friend who cosplays Deadpool. And finally, this is my M16 A1, just like that. And I still need to put in the rear sight in here, the loop. But there's the front sight. That's literally just a cocktail stick. And so he's made from foam, cardboard, various types of cardboard, you know, from a box, from cling film. And the magazine comes out. There's nothing in there, but there's the magazine with the bullets. This is my first double stack magazine I've had to make. Goes in like that. Bolt back here does not move, but I need to make it stronger because it's made of foam, so it bends. There's the mag release, so that would be what it is. Still a couple of things to add on here. There's the holes. But this is what I will be using for James Carson when he goes to Vietnam later this year. I think it's mostly because I like the M16A1, the look of it. Because, you know, the 20-round magazine as opposed to the curved 30 rounds and just the overall design of it. But those are all my prop guns that I've made so far. And basically, the technique I use for it is on another laptop, because my laptop is a touchscreen. So if I tried tracing it off there, I would do all sorts. But I use another laptop that's not touchscreen. I blow up the actual gun to its actual size on PowerPoint and cut it out, because I don't have a printer. Before someone comments, well, why don't you just use a printer? I don't have one. I don't have a printer. And I trace it directly from the screen onto paper, stick them together with sellotape, draw over them with Sharpie so I get a good line, and I just basically trace them onto cardboard or foam, in cases like the M16 and the BAR, and of course the PPK. In fact, the Desert Eagles were made from foam as well. And then I literally just make loads of layers, lots of layers. You might as well call me an ogre. Use lots of layers. Oh, excuse me. I mean, the Good Samaritan, that's going to get a lot thicker. That's going to get a lot thicker. I mean, this one at the moment is... Why do I have to cut them in a way that some of the... so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers of cardboard so far for the Good Samaritan. And it's still not even finished. There's still a little bit left to go. Maybe another 2 layers. 1 either side. Maybe 2 either side. I don't know. For the barrel at least. And then it needs to be a bit wider for the bottom here, for the grip. On average, they are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'd say about 7 to 10 layers, depending on the actual gun. So the Thompson was quite thin, whereas the which one do I use as a good example? Yeah, let's use that. So, and that's Jenga. And surprisingly, none of them are broken because of that. So the Thompson is thinner compared to the Grand. You know, I sometimes have reference to say how wide they are. Sometimes I'll just use in picture reference and estimates. But I think I'm actually pretty good on this. I think this is the actual width of it. So yeah, it's actually quite fun making them, you know, and people really liked how I made them. They were pretty impressed, especially when some people were saying, I was walking around with this and they were saying, oh, that's so cool, it looks heavy. And I'm like, no, it's light as anything. They would get a hold of it and they'd be like, I thought this was metal, what's it made of? Oh, cardboard. Really? You know, there are some telltale giveaways, like on the bolt, for instance, you see bits of the cardboard, but yeah, people gave me some good feedback on that and the costumes, so it's made me want to do more of it. I have no idea what I'm going to do with the Sten. I think I just made it because, well, I'm British, it's a British SMG, and because the Sten was put into Call of Duty World War II, which I have. I've got the Sten. I managed to get every weapon, every gun, not the melee weapons, the guns, in World War II. I need to get back on there. And yeah, I think I'm actually going to be doing this with a friend. You know, he does cosplay swords and stuff like that. So he's going to do that. He's got a friend who will help us with making some cosplay armors. I'll make prop guns. Because obviously some people can't afford airsoft. Some people, I think you need like a specific license for airsoft or something. But let's say, for instance, they wanted an M16, but they couldn't get an airsoft M16 because of, you know, I don't know if it's the truth, but because they don't have the right license, or they're not old enough, or they're too expensive. Simply go on our Etsy, whatever we call it, and order this. Well, not this exact one. What we'll do is we'll make a mold out of it and then make a more stronger one, because this one, the fore-end moves. I mean, I'll keep the original, but others will get the molds, the actual models. And I tell you, that would be so cool to go to a Comic-Con and in the future and see someone walking around with one of our props. You'd be like, oh my god, they're using my prop! But yeah, I mean, there's so many out there, and we'll see what I do. Luckily, I can go on eBay and get some cardboard if I run out. It's weird, I start off big and I'm having to work down smaller now. So I'm gonna have to work on like P90 sized guns or more pistols, stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun, and maybe that's how I'm gonna make a bit of cosplay money, you know, because everyone else, you know, they make cosplay money from making the costumes and stuff like that. I've made 1 costume, technically 2, for friends. Well, 1 was an ex-girlfriend. Well, she was my girlfriend at the time. But that's another story. completely another story. But yeah, that's all my prop guns. So let me know in the comments below, did you enjoy this? Did you like what I've done? You know, is there any gun that you would like to see me make in the future? You know, maybe I could make it, you know. If or when we do set up our Etsy and we do start selling these kinds of props, would you be interested in them? You know, do you make your own props or costumes? Let me know all that down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like rating. It certainly helps me out. If you want to add it to your favorites, go ahead. And if you want to see more videos like this, more geek related stuff, my 2017 cosplay montage where you can see my James Carson cosplay with my actual M1 Garand in action, especially with a little Call of Duty Zombies inspired video that I made. You know, you can search for that. You can hit that subscribe button down below. And until the next video, I've been Mighty Mr. Mooresky. Y'all have a nice day.